Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a single, incredibly powerful idea, inspired by Jim Donovan's book of the same name. This is your life, not a dress rehearsal. It's one of those phrases that sounds simple, but once you really let it sink in, it can change everything. So let's just start with that question. I want you to really think about it. Are you the star of your own show? Are you making the big choices and living your life to the fullest? Or are you kind of waiting in the wings, just rehearsing for a real life that never seems to actually start?
Yeah, everything we're going to get into today comes from this book, which is really a playbook for how to stop waiting around and start creating the life you actually imagine for yourself. So let's start by digging into the problem it's trying to solve.
Okay, Section 1, Life's Dress Rehearsal. So what does that even mean, to live in rehearsal mode? Well, for the author Jim Donovan, this wasn't some abstract concept. It was his reality. I mean, just look at this quote. Donovan wrote this from a place of total despair. He'd hit rock bottom. We're talking physically, mentally, the whole deal. And that crisis forced a massive realization. He could either keep rehearsing this life of misery, or he could step up and change the entire production.
Now look, hopefully most of us won't hit a low that's quite that dramatic, but the feeling? It's surprisingly common, right? It's that sense of putting things off, postponing your dreams for some day. You're waiting for the perfect conditions, or for permission from someone, or for your circumstances to just magically change. And before you know it, you've become an extra in the movie of your own life.
And this gets to the heart of it. This is the core difference in mindset. Rehearsal mode is passive. It's about waiting for permission and blaming external forces for everything. It's a place driven by fear. Performance mode, on the other hand, is active. It's about taking the initiative, owning every single outcome, good or bad, and seeing it as a chance to learn. So just take a second and be honest with yourself. Which mode are you in right now? So if you feel like you're stuck in rehearsal, how do you finally get the show on the road? It starts with a fundamental shift in your perspective. You have to decide to stop being an actor just reading someone else's lines and become the director. This shift kicks off with a concept the book calls radical ownership. Now, this doesn't mean blaming yourself for every bad thing that happens to you. Not at all. It means taking 100% responsibility for your response. A traffic jam isn't your fault, but your reaction to it, that's on you. You can't control the economy, but you can control your career moves. That's where your true power is. The book uses this incredible quote from Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor. He realized that even in the most horrific circumstances imaginable, the one thing that could never be taken away from him was the freedom to choose his own attitude. And that choice, well, that's you sitting in the director's chair. Okay, you've decided to be the director. Fantastic. Now what? What story are you going to tell? Because every great director needs a script. And that brings us to Section 3, rewriting your script. The book lays out a really clear two-step process for this. First, you've got to find the old, broken parts of your current script. Those are your limiting beliefs. And second, you need to get crystal clear about the new scenes you actually want to live out. To understand these limiting beliefs, the book uses this great parable of the elephant on a rope. A huge, full-grown elephant often won't even try to pull against a tiny little stake, because as a baby, that stake was enough to hold it. It was conditioned to believe it couldn't escape, and that belief sticks around, long after it has the strength to just break free. So the question is, what are our elephant ropes? What are the old, outdated beliefs that are still holding us back? And now for step 2, defining those new scenes. The book uses this diagram to show that a good life isn't just about one thing. This is actually from an Arabic translation of the book, and what it lays out are 6 key interconnected areas for a satisfying life. You have your finances, career, health, relationships, your spiritual and emotional well-being, and finally, personal growth. The book asks, what does a 10 out of 10 look like for you in each of these areas? All right, so we've identified the problem, we've claimed the director's chair, and we've even started rewriting the script. But none of that matters without the final, most important step. Action. You know, a director's vision is worthless until they finally yell action. This is where it gets real. It's time to move from just thinking about it to actually doing something. So, looking at those 6 areas of life, what's the very first, smallest step you can take? What's the one scene you can start filming today? Here are a few simple exercises from the book just to get you started. You could try the Aladdin factor. Write down 100 wishes, no matter how small or big. Don't judge, just write. Or you could just start a daily gratitude journal. The goal isn't to do everything at once. It's to pick one small action you can take today. That's how momentum begins. And that brings us full circle. The stage is set, the script is yours to write, and the lights are on you. You're the director and you're the star. So the real question isn't if the show will start, it's already happening. The question is, what kind of story will you decide to tell with the time you have? Because the performance is now.